It's the Team Engagement Podcast, where leaders of teams share their insights. 6 questions in less than 9 minutes, because leaders know how to be concise. Let's go ahead and dive right into it. First question, tell us in a few sentences who you are and what you do.
Shalin Jyotishi. I'm a strategist, researcher, and communicator at the intersection of higher education, workforce development, and innovation and technology policy.
Fantastic. All right, well, question number 2. What is the best thing about working with a team?
I would say finding fulfillment and self-actualization through your work. In a team environment, you're able to find collaborators and folks who can really just support you in your endeavors. We all have this sort of need to belong, to contribute, to find meaningful work. And, for most people, I think you find that when you work with others. You see this most with my generation, with millennials. But I think you also see it among older populations. You have retirees who just want to get back to work to find some fulfillment. And, for me, I think finding that harmonious mix and match of knowledge, skills, and abilities with your different coworkers and collaborators is just the best merriment of work. So I'd say actualization is the
great perspective. That's great. Thank you. I love that perspective. Question number 3. I hear from other team leaders that it can be a challenge to get team members engaged. Tell me your thoughts.
Yeah, I think it can be. Building a team is hard, and empowering a team is even harder. For me, the entrepreneurial, innovative self-starters that I like to have on my team aren't the wallflower types. They want to grow, they want to drive impact, they want to sharpen their skills and sort of broaden their horizons and move on up in their careers. That means there's inherently personalities that you may have on your team. You may have some elbow bumping, a culture of competition. So, for me, I think it's most important to get around all of that. You want to have a positive culture on your team. As a supervisor, I think it's really important to tie your team and your organizational objectives to your talents you have. And the ambitions that your team members have. That strategic and harmonious matchmaking, I think, reduces the odds of conflict you may have, or, odds of swim lanes or territorialism, if everyone just feels that they have a path for them, a growth opportunity, and an opportunity to sort of have their puzzle piece fit into the bigger picture. I think that leads to this level of synergy.
Fantastic. Love that. Thank you. Question number 4. What other successful team leaders, such as yourself, would you recommend be on my podcast?
That's a great question. I have to say, my friend and creative guru, Fabrice Guerrero, is somebody I think you should definitely speak to. Fabrice and I are both part of the World Economic Forum Global Shapers community. He's an entrepreneur and an author who's just dedicated to unleashing the creative spirit among leaders, and it's just a fantastic person to speak with about these issues.
Great. Thank you. Question number 5. What piece of advice do you have for other leaders of teams?
I'd say it's finding that matchmaking of the knowledge, skills, and abilities and ambitions with the needs of your organization. That people find fulfillment in work. That's why retirees want to go back into the workforce instead of sipping pina coladas on the beach. It's why millennials really would be willing to take a pay cut if they could have meaningful, mission-driven jobs. I think when you find the merriment of your organizational needs and what the talent you have on your team, or finding the matching pieces there is really key. And I think that's just the best ticket to finding that self-actualization thing I mentioned earlier.
Oh, great. That's great information. Thank you. 6th and final question. Tell us about your first job.
First job. My first job was actually selling knives door to door.
Wow.
I was a Cutco sales agent in high school, and it was my very first attempt at any type of salesman thing. And I think I was maybe 16, so I had this 16-year-old walking around door to door with a knife set trying to sell them. It was a great learning experience, I'll tell you that.
What was one thing that you learned from that as a result?
Oh gosh, there's so many lessons I
So
learned.
many, yeah.
Number one, don't sell knives door to door. As a 16-year-old. Um, I actually learned a lot about what people look at when they're considering buying a product. It actually gave me a lot of sort of communication skills, I think, and being able to sort of match what I have to offer with what my client, my friend, my customer, what their needs are, finding the match between needs and what I have to offer. I actually learned that just going door to door with my little knife demo kit. I'd say that lesson learned.
That's awesome. Thanks for sharing that. And thanks for being on the podcast. Shalin, where can people find you?
I'm on Twitter at Shalin Jyotishi, and on LinkedIn. Would be happy to connect and chat up with anyone who's interested in talking leadership.
Fantastic. Well, this is Sean Richards with the Team Engagement Podcast, where leaders of teams share their insights. For more ideas, you can find us on LinkedIn. Search for Blue Sky Business Consulting.